Hi, I'm Rick.
Hi, I'm Oscar. Rick, we saw the first bits of .NET 6 dropping.
Yes, we did. .NET 6 Preview 1 was made available a few weeks ago.
Yeah, somewhere end of February.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you already get your hands on it?
Yes. And I wanted to explicitly look at MAUI, since I think MAUI is a very big promise. MAUI will be the successor of Xamarin Forms.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to have a look what the current status of .NET MAUI is. So I downloaded .NET 6 Preview, and I got all of this stuff up and running on my machine that I needed to have running to be able to do stuff in .NET 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I had mixed success. so let's dive into my machine right now. So first of all, here is the .NET MAUI repo under the .NET organization. And as you can see, it currently has 24 minutes ago been updated with a recent commit. So it's really being actively developed. And then if we look at .NET MAUI, which means multi-platform app UI.
Yeah.
As it states here, it's a multi-platform native UI that enables you to deploy to multiple devices across both mobile and desktop. It uses a single project, single code base, and it's an evolution of Xamarin Forms. So the namespace Xamarin Forms will probably change into something .NET or system specific, but that will then be an evolution of Xamarin Forms, and then it will be called MAUI from that moment on until who knows when in the future.
Well, we're still getting some big events, so maybe we have a name change, you never know.
Yeah, we never know. So we can install the SDKs that are listed, and then you can run either from the IDE or somewhere else. And then one of the things, I actually pulled in the most recent changes that are in this repo currently, and then it says, if you have Visual Studio 16.9 Preview 4 installed, you can open the MAUI solution and run it from there.
Okay.
Now, I looked in the repo, and at this point, there is no MAUI solution. There is a Microsoft.MAUI solution, so I'm expecting them to mean that one. And then I looked a little bit further, and then it says the current status is active development. So they are actually actively working on it right now. And I think I followed everything that's in the instructions. However, I did not manage to get this solution building. But we'll have a look at that just when we switch to Visual Studio. But first of all, I would like to see here, we see Xamarin Forms versus .NET MAUI. And then we can see what this means for platforms that are supported. So for instance, you see that Xamarin Forms supports iOS 9 to 15, and .MAUI is supported on 10 and higher. So that way there are a lot of different types of information that we can find here. And then, for instance, if we look at Xamarin Forms, we see that MVVM and RxUI are the only two app models that are supported. But with MAUI, MVU and Blazor will also be added.
Cool.
Let's move into Visual Studio with the MAUI solution. Now, we already see that there is some red in there.
This is the solution you pulled off the repo?
Yeah, so if we look down here, we can see that this is .NET MAUI, so that's the repo that we're looking at, the main branch in this case. Well, that's maybe even something that I haven't looked at to see how many remote branches there are. So maybe, just maybe, a dev would fix my issues, but I'm not going to look into that right now. As we can see currently in the error list, with 21,623 errors, something isn't correctly building yet. Now, probably most of this is collateral damage. So one project doesn't build, and that brings on a flurry of exceptions. But yeah, currently I haven't gotten around to fixing this yet. I am going to try and do so really soon, but I'm not entirely sure where the issues are at this point.
Okay.
But fortunately, we have another project that also might be interesting, which is still .NET 6 and still building on MAUI. So we have the .NET 6 mobile samples repo, and this actually is an early preview of mobile in .NET 6, bold, not for production use.
Of course.
So we shouldn't have this in production on machines yet. Expect breaking changes, as this is still in development for .NET 6. And of course, .NET 6 is in a preview, as you said. It will be they will release it in November.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the big releases are in November each year. So there's still a lot of room for improvement and development there, probably. However, this solution does work. Now, let's close this down, go to our new Visual Studio, and here we have the Net 6.5 samples solution opened. And if you've ever worked with Xamarin Forms, then this is probably a well-known structure for you, since we have a Hello Forms, which is the default project, and then we have a Hello Android and a Hello iOS project that actually holds the iOS and Android specific implementation if necessary. Now, if you look in the Hello Forms, and you can see that the package that we reference is actually still Xamarin Forms over here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look in this one, we can see that there's shared and some Android stuff in there as well. And we have a main page, and this is one of the things that actually stood out to me. Normally, a main page.xaml file will open in a designer.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I'm not entirely sure why it doesn't, but I have the latest bits of the Visual Studio Preview installed, and currently this doesn't show. Oh, this does, so the code behind I can see. But now something that's, as far as I know, is different from Xamarin Forms is if we go into our Hello Android project, we see that we have an Android manifest and a main activity. So the main activity is actually the code that runs for the Android application. But then under resources, under layout, we have an activity main.xml. And now this XML file, so no XAML file, but an XML file.
Yeah.
Let's just say I agree with the inconsistent line endings being fixed. Now we can see that on the left-hand side, we have a screen, while the file is just a .xml file and not a XAML file.
Yeah.
But there's more, of course, because there's always more. Now, let's see, we have here a @string/app_name. That's actually pulled in from these strings.xml right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have hello.net 6 over there. That's actually also pulled in from the string. So you can see here, the Android text is a string/app text. That's actually pulled in from the strings.xml as well. Now, if we want to see what this looks like if we run it, we can of course run it on the emulator. So I have an Android emulator up and running right here. This is an emulator for a Pixel 2 Pi 9.0. But I would first like to make sure that we know that it's not a pre-built stuff thingy. So I want to change something with the font. So this is also something that, as far as I'm concerned, screams we are in development, because if I go now to properties, I don't see anything.
There are no properties.
But
okay.
Be advised, I deselect it, I select it again, now I have properties.
Okay.
And then, for instance, if you want to go make this bold, we go to style, and then we have a text size and a text style. So for text size, let's say we do 36 pixels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Let's remove the pixels. There we go. So it's a bit bigger now. And then I would like to enable it to be bold. And then I think, wait, I don't want it bold. So let's uncheck this. I can't.
That's immutable. That's normally I like that. But
It's a record. No. But what I can do is, of course, remove it in the XML file.
Of course.
And then it's no longer bold.
But
so
this is not only the MAUI implementation in .NET 6, it's also a really big tool set that needs to work with that. So I can imagine that these iterations need to be shorter and faster. It's a lot more than what we're used to in other parts of the system.
It's in active development. Probably, or maybe they changed some stuff around and the Visual Studio team hasn't gotten the memo yet, or they're still working on it. But you can really feel that this is completely in preview, in active development. Now, one thing that actually stood out to me, or two things that stood out to me, is I can run this and run it on an Android device or run it on the emulator, and it works with .NET 6.
Okay.
But before I do so, I want to show one thing, because I haven't seen this in Xamarin Forms, and maybe I just didn't see
Haven't seen it.
or I didn't mention it. But right now here I see this theme editor, and we used to have an app.xml or an app.xaml where we could define all types of generic themes for the entire application.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here I found this theme editor, and if I open this up, I can actually choose which my primary color would be. Currently it resolves to this. I can use a color picker, I can use a material palette. So they're actually, as far as I can see right now, actively targeting to make this simpler.
Yeah.
Or make this more understandable for people that use the current tools that are available. Now, we have this available right here, and then let's have the emulator run on top, and we'll go run this from there. So it is going to rebuild, so it might take a little bit of time because I, of course, changed some stuff in the layout. So the text needs to be a little bit bigger, but not bold, because I disabled that by removing the XML.
Mhm.
And then we are closing in on it actually being done, because I can see an APK coming in from the background. And there we go, hello Android, and then it fades in with hello.NET 6. So this is a .NET 6 application running on Android, on an emulator in this case, but this is Android. So it actually works, and then if I'm not mistaken, currently I have no code available that I would like to do this with, but I could also, of course, put breakpoints in and see what happens in the application. Now, one extra thing that gives out that this is currently still very much based on what Xamarin does for us,
Mhm.
is if we go in the overview, we still have the nice Xamarin logo on the top of the application. And also, if we close it this way and we go into the application list, which I do this way, then here I can see this was the application that we were just running. Here is Hello Forms, here's Hello Android, and they are still actively targeting Xamarin icons, or putting Xamarin icons on the apps.
But it wasn't a rewrite, it wasn't
No.
from scratch. There's a lot of stuff in there that can be reused
True.
and built on, otherwise we're going to need some years to get there.
Yeah.
But what I heard is that they definitely re-architect some things. I can imagine the icons aren't primarily important.
No, and neither are the namespaces, right? So probably they're still working with the existing NuGet packages that are available for Xamarin Forms at this point.
Everything that doesn't change will definitely be in there.
Yeah. So we can run a .NET 6 application on an Android device, but it's very much under development.
It's still interesting to realize that you're
Yeah.
running .NET 6 on an Android right now already, while most of us aren't even on 5 yet or further. I think it's
Very true.
It's a nice glimpse into the future.
Very true. And one of the cool things is I saw a video with somebody who had this exact same solution open, but he had a iPad connected to his machine, and he had the same application with .NET Core running on his
.NET,
on his iOS.
not Core.
Oh, .NET, I'm sorry. With the .NET application
still doing
running
that as well.
on an iPad.
Yeah. Wow.
Which, I mean, think about it 10 years ago, how we were building or trying to build software for iOS devices using .NET. That
Like this.
there was no option. So it looks very promising. It also looks like they're really hard working, trying to get it to actually be stable and work.
Yeah, I'm very curious because now you see .NET 6 is it's a long-term release, long-term support release.
Yeah.
We're now in 5, which is shorter.
Yeah.
Normally you would expect previewing in a 5 or in an alt version, but in this case, I'm really curious what will make it into the 6, because we
True.
saw that last time towards 5, because they're more now date committed and therefore features will fall.
Yeah, they might be put
So I'm
out.
really curious, because this is a bit of a, it won't be fully done, of course, but it is a bit of a all or nothing. Will we end up getting a Xamarin towards MAUI thing, or a full rebranding where you just still use the Xamarin namespaces? It would be amazing if they get the whole thing really like feeling like a new feature in MAUI and all the dev tools around it already
Well,
done for 6.
Well, you know, I think, but I'm not sure, of course, they still have more than half a year before this needs to hit LTS or release. And I think they really explicitly said that MAUI will be part of .NET 6. So I'm really curious to see how this year .NET 6 will progress, the new versions of previews become available, and then to have a look at what's actually happening in there. So
Yeah.
I'm actually expecting this to be in .NET 6 when it hits release. And I'm even expecting to see no more Xamarin in the namespace, but maybe an icon here or two.
Definitely would definitely be an achievement, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm
Cool.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much for this. I've got my first glimpse into .NET 6 and MAUI.
Yeah.
We'll definitely watch this space and maybe see what's more in .NET 6. But for now, this is it.
Yeah. So thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.